Recording. The event is in progress and our recording has started off. So we will give it about 30 seconds more before we formally start and launch the event. Before that, I'd like to confirm with our hostess for the evening, Uma, if we have the speakers on the panel with us already, both the speakers.
We are just having Geetha getting in.
Hello. Yeah.
Did you speak to Geetha?
Yeah. She's just getting in. Your voice is a little intermittent, ma.
Uma, you are a little far away from the mic.
I think so.
Okay, hi, Padma Priya, and I see people talking to us on the chat. Good evening, Padma Priya from Chennai, the Watson Health team. We also have
Okay,
Geetha
hi.
Chanda.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Hi, Rajeswari. I'm letting you know who are our participants on the call. We have an ex-employee who is currently working with TCS. Sunita, thank you so much for joining us back and ensuring that you're able to stay connected with IBM. We have Parvati Menon, who is from Chennai, who's a senior data engineer and a scrum master at Verizon. Parvati.
Wow.
Good evening, Anita. Anita is from Bangalore. She's a service integration leader for mainframes for the Anthem account. Enable, that's a beautiful name. Enable is also from Chennai location and is from the Windows system. Good evening, ladies. Thank you. Continue to share information about us apart from your location and what you do. You can also tell us what have you been doing during the lockdown that you probably haven't done before. For example, some of us must have resumed our hobbies from our teenage days, or we are probably trying to try something new. I think most of us are back to the kitchen, and like the previous generation moms, spending more time in the kitchen right now. If you have done anything that you have resumed in the lockdown, before we start the event, put it on the chat and let's share our experiences.
Uma, can't hear you, Uma.
Geetha, can you come a little forward? We are not able to see you. We will get started. Vidya, the presentation is shared with you. If you want to continue hosting.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Geetha, you're on.
You are audible.
All right.
I'm afraid I would prefer you to continue hosting because I have intermittent electricity issues. So if I'm the host and then I lose electric connectivity, then it will become a problem.
Sure, not a problem. I'm just waiting for 1 second.
And Parvati, meanwhile, Parvati is saying that she's trying to sharpen her cooking skills. I don't know if sharpening is referring to using more of knives and forks. Okay, and Anita is saying she's a pet parent, she's a painter, and an IBM CSR team member. Okay, Anita, both Uma and I are also CSR team members. And Parvati is also taking care of herself. Very good, Parvati. Super, setting an example. She's exercising, she's following some very nice beauty routines and regimes, and she's on a healthy diet. Thank you, Parvati. Post your tips that you think work for you,
Absolutely.
and you think will work for the others.
Okay. Banu, I think I enabled you because you have joined as an attendee. So we will get started. Thank you so much for such an amazing participation from all of you. So we have an excellent panel today here, and amazing women who are a role model themselves to us, and there has been a lot of interaction and learning that happened with them. For me, especially last few days as I was interacting, and my relationship with them was in fact started a year ago when they started the book launch in Chennai, very close up to our office, DLF campus, Sutherland premises. So that's how we started our interaction. So I'm very happy to be actually being part of the two organizations that are actually hosting this event. My name is Umashri Raghunath, and I'm the Global Portfolio Manager working for GTS, handling 3 UK and UKI accounts. And it is a very pleasure and honor to be representing IBM Mahi team as well as Yvette as Vice President. So welcome you all to this wonderful session. Before I take much of what this session is going to give to us today, I now request our Mahi BRG leader, Vidya Prabhu, to go ahead and introduce Mahi to you all.
Hi, Uma, thank you very much for that start. Maybe you would want to get a little closer when you speak next time. I think voice is breaking is something that Anita had posted. So please be a little more conscious of that. We'll start off with introducing this Mahi team that is today in collaboration with EWIT presenting this phenomenal fireside chat for you. So from the Mahi core team, I am the BRG leader for the location CIC Chennai. My name is Vidya Prabhu, and I have been with IBM from 2009. I currently lead the global cloud delivery for IBM Cloud for the business unit multi-cloud managed services. In our team, we have a mix and match of a variety of intellectually beautiful women. Uma already introduced herself, Uma Shri, who's a program manager. From Uma's team, we also have Devika, who's also from the project management team. We have Bhavya, who is a Tivoli specialist. We have Lakshmi from the Watson Labs team. We have Aparna, who is a delivery operations manager. We have Sunita, who is a sector quality lead. And Uma, who is also a delivery operations manager. And last but not the least, we have Shweta, who is an SAP architect. So our team is a mix and match of technical leadership, of delivery leadership, of technical skills, and most importantly, of passion. All of us are involved with Mahi because we have one common motive, which is passion to do something for not just IBMers, but today in the lockdown situation for their extended families as well. We are led by the executive sponsor and the India diversity leader, Nazreen Dawood, who is also the India Europe director for delivery. As a team, all of us ensure that we not only bring onto a plate a variety of events that can be engaging for women, but we also try and bring events that will help women improve as individuals, as IBMers. We also believe in collaboration and being equal, which is why we do programs that will also have equal impact on the LGBT community, our male allies, and everyone else in IBM and across the other BRGs. I'd like to also proudly mention that we are the only BRG in CIC India, where we have collaboration with all the business units. We have GBS, GTS, and Watson Health that works together, and we cater to ensure we are able to meet all their demands, not just with reference to technical growth, delivery growth, leadership growth, but also fun aspect. So looking forward to mix and match of all of these today, along with EWIT. Thank you very much, Uma, for bringing two phenomenal women. I am sure when I see two names that say Dr. K. Rajeswari and Dr. Geetha R, all of us would like to first stand up and say thank you for taking our time today and ensuring that we are able to talk to you, find out from you, because most of the times, all of us only think from an IT perspective. Sometimes it's important that we get perspectives from outside of the IT world, and nothing better than listening to the two of you. Looking forward to a great 1 hour ahead. Thank you, Uma.
Thank you so much, Vidya.
Moving on to introducing our panel for the day. The topic for the day is working women during lockdown, and we do have Dr. K. Rajeswari, who is a senior associate professor from Greatlakes. She is a postgraduate in management from IIM Ahmedabad. She completed her PhD from IIT Madras, was a faculty at ZLRI prior to this. She is also an author, and one of her books, The New Plan A, is one that talks about women and career challenges. She has also won several Women Achiever Awards and International Research Awards. Her most recent award was Leading Educationalist of India in 2019. She has published papers in GOI Women Conference, mentors working women, and has conducted workshops.
Thank
We
you,
also
Uma.
have Dr. Geetha Ramanathan. Welcome, Dr. Geetha. She's the head of management audit and risk management from Murugappa Group. She is a PhD in finance from IIT Madras and qualified chartered accountant and rich corporate experience working for Ashok Leyland, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, Haskins apart from Murugappa group. She is a gold medalist and state rank holder, published papers in top-tier international journals, guest faculty at the business schools. She was conferred Excellence in Management Audit Award by Venus International Foundation in 2019. Her interests including reading, writing, and listening to music. The combination of Geetha and Rajeswari, they have authored book together, and that is how they both have a correlation here. And before we proceed on to the event, I would request Banu Rekha Konda, who is the president of IVET, to take a minute to talk about IVET. Vidya, I'm not able to unmute Banu.
Is she a part of the panelists?
She is in the attendees, I think.
Okay, maybe you would want to promote her to the panelists and check.
Trying, but I'm not able to see her name. 1 minute.
You can use the search option under participants.
Yes.
If you click on attendee and then you can type her name on the search option.
Yes, 1 second.
Just see.
Actually,
I think.
go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Excellent. Thank you so much. First of all, IBM team Uma and the entire IBM group there for collaborating with EVIT and hosting this event today. We are very, very privileged to have this association. We'd like to thank Dr. K. Rajeswari and Dr. Geetha, panelists today, and enlighten our teams and pass on your learnings and the exposure you bring on this today. Take away learnings on how do we re-energize, reskill ourselves, and ensure we stay. There seems to be some background noise. If you can mute yourself, please. Thank you. So that will be a key takeaway for all of us here. A little bit about EVIT before we begin. EVIT is a 15-year-old organization. We are primarily an NGO. Our focus has always been doing sessions like this, which really help women to come back to the mainstream. Who needs to be muted, please?
I'm not. I have to mute everyone, and that will mute you to Banu. So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So our primary objective is to expand the women's workforce at all management levels, sustain and flourish, enabling women to tread the career path by equipping them with necessary skills, which is going to be the main focus for today's session, facilitating women's quest for a better work-life balance in the IT and ITES sector. Every month we do a couple of sessions, and most of our sessions are around upskilling. This year our theme is digital transformation. So a lot of these sessions are free. I really request all the members on this session to actively join those sessions in the upcoming months as well. With that, thank you so much, Dr. Rajeswari and Dr. Geetha. Over to you, please.
So much, Banu. I will be
So much.
yeah.
Hello.
Yes, I have muted all the participants for the benefit of hearing Rajeswari and Geetha clearly. So we will now move on to the next slides. The first question for the day that I have is how COVID-19 has transformed.
Sorry to interrupt. Uma, sorry to interrupt. Can you get a little closer to the mic, please? You sound a little far off and your voice is breaking.
How COVID-19 has transformed the workspace for women. I would start with Rajeswari on this one.
Your voice is not too clear, though I think I got the question.
Okay. I think Uma, you need to speak louder. Anyway, I got what you said. So good evening, everyone. Happy to be here, and very. It's our pleasure to really share what we're all going through together, a lifetime experience, if I can say that. I think COVID-19 started off as an experience which we thought is going to go away soon, but it seems to be just prolonging and prolonging. And I think there was an initial euphoria amongst working women that, oh, now it is going to be, work from home situation, which is something all of us, look forward to, right? In traditional times, I think we believe that work from home is always a more flexible arrangement that will help us balance out home and work together. But I think this particular experience is now transforming itself in the long run, and that is changing some dynamics at a very fundamental level. And the initial euphoria is waning, is what I would say. And we are all caught in complex situations, including both Geetha and myself. Though we are not from the IT background, I'm from marketing and she's from finance. We can quite understand how this experience is panning out for all of us. So if you look at the slide there, the first point I've put under this heading of personal and professional, what I mean is it's having, different experiences across personal life and professional life. First and foremost, I think the boundaries are blurring, right? So since it's work from home, all of us tend to take on a lot of workload, and we seem to be constantly working at the end of the day. And there are no demarcated, how do I say, time, space, etc. So there is a lot of boundarylessness that is happening between home and work. In fact, there is one favorite slide of mine, which I had, I don't know if Bona has managed to send that to you, Uma or Banu. There's one lady who's actually doing, she's a very senior corporate professional in the IT industry. And her work from home arrangement is she's making some dosa with a laptop webinar going on in one corner of the kitchen table. So that is a a typical visual, I would think, of how all of us are stuck in the situation today. So I've lost the presentation. Can you bring it back, please? Hello.
I wanted to show you that.
Okay. Visual. Okay, go on. Okay. So boundarylessness is the first feature of this COVID-19 workscape. Okay, so this is what I meant. I've just masked this lady's face. She's a very senior professional in an IT. She happens to be a friend. So when I asked her to send me one typical visual of how life is during COVID-19, this is what she sent me. So as you can see, this is a kitchen. She's busy making dosa and she's looking into the laptop, which is in the bottom right corner. This says a lot of things, right? First of all, it says that there are no specific demarcated work and home areas. Obviously, kitchen has become kind of 2-in-1 in this particular situation, right? Secondly, it also says that I think in terms of role clarity between the spouses, some houses claim it is there, some houses claim it is not there. But I think the fact of the matter is Indian women are prone to taking on a lot of workload on themselves. And that is not helping during the current, work from home situation. And the third is the timing. Apart from the fact that we don't have any demarcated workspaces, we don't seem to have any scheduled timing either. So we seem to be just simply available almost maybe 18 hours out of 24 hours we are available. And that is not helping our efficiency either. So the first point is really no boundaries between home and work. And this is a point that I'm making upfront because this is setting the dynamic for the rest of the conversation. The second point is her social moments and fun are reduced. What I mean by that is, I'm sure you'll agree that for a lot of us working women, going to office was also a little bit of that socializing, right? It used to be a stress buster. We used to hang out with our friends, maybe catch up a cup of coffee, talk some gossip. Now, all that has gone really, right? I mean, the chatting on WhatsApp is not the same. And our fun time seems to have come down, which is not, again, a good thing overall. So we need to work harder now at making fun happen in our lives. So the social moments have dwindled. And given this social distancing and outdoor activity getting, cancelled, so we are all stuck at home. So our socializing partners happen to be only our family as of now, except the virtual socializing. So this is an important point. Fun moments have reduced. And the third is we are all going through anxiety. And anxiety seems to be across many fronts. First is the uncertain work itself, right? Now, uncertain work can pan out in different manners. First and foremost, I think there is a segment of people who are even threatened about potential job losses in some industries, right? I'd like to give an example of a Swedish airline company. which had to close shop because of this COVID about a month ago. And they realized that they had a lot of well-trained staff, but they had to make them go home because there is no work. As you know, airlines industry has taken possibly the highest beating, and they've grounded all their aircrafts and people have been asked to go home. But the management really sat down and thought, we've trained such good people and definitely they have some skills. It must be coming good in some areas. And then they realize that while airline industry is shutting down, there may be other industries which are actually looking up during these difficult times. One such is a healthcare industry, right? And second is the online schooling that is picking up. So what they decided to do is they just, signed up with an organization that would quickly convert their current, airline management skills into healthcare skills. And you will realize that there's a lot of overlap. It's like a hospitality sector at the end of the day. Except for the medical knowledge, there is a lot of work that a healthcare worker brings to the table that an airline staff can quickly get trained on. So a lot of their staff actually got into healthcare working, and a lot of their staff also got into play school and school teaching, right? Now in Sweden, unlike India, there has not been a lockdown imposed and all the schools are open. So they keep requiring people. So they realized that they're understaffed there and these people ended up going there. So this uncertain work is, creating a lot of problems in people's minds. I'll talk about it more in the context of what solutions we can come up with later in the Indian context. So that is the first source of anxiety. Second source of anxiety is financial stability. I think some of us have been through salary cuts. I can tell you from an academic institution perspective, there have been drop in admissions, right? Especially if you look at some postgraduate management courses which require work experience. This is not a great year because people don't want to give up on their jobs and come and do an MBA program. They'd rather stick to their jobs and maybe do this program 1 year later. So financial stability is going to take its, create its impact as people are downsizing on salary levels, taking a increment cut, not giving performance bonus. So is it affecting financial stability is another question. While maybe in urban scenarios, some of us may be cocooned by the income from fixed assets or part-time jobs, etc. This is more so, I think, in tier 2, tier 3 towns, right? Can I go back to that slide, please? Hello? So, so financial. Yeah. So the third one is child schooling. Now, I think especially this month can be very hard on us. Many children's schools have opened and moms therefore have to juggle between setting the laptop, putting the speaker, ensure the Wi-Fi is working. The kid is getting up at 8 o'clock, sitting in one place, having his breakfast and able to listen. In fact, this morning I saw one timetable for a 4th standard kid. I think that will beat any adult in terms of having that schedule, So even adults can't sit through that. So I don't know how this child is going to cope up with these online classes. So all that stress is coming on to the mother only essentially. So child schooling is another anxiety. The next one is personal care, parental care, especially for the aged parents at home if they are there. We all know the vulnerable population for COVID is say 60, 65 plus. We need to take extra care for them. We need to, give them the right food, right time, medication should not be missed, so on and so forth. So that's definitely another source of anxiety. And last but not the least is domestic help. I think domestic help, how do I say, there's a very high level of empathy. I'm sure when I say maids are being sorely missed, we have to do all the work today, including myself and Geetha, who are now doubled up as all-in-one at home. Maids also are in a very precarious situation because they need the money, but they are not able to come to work. And some employees are being tough on them, asking them to get the testing done and not paying for the COVID testing, so on and so forth. And in the absence of these cash flows at home, these domestic workers face a lot of violence and abuse from their partners. So domestic workers, domestic help, lack of it is causing a lot of anxiety. So this is really a snapshot of what the COVID situation has turned out to be for the working woman. So maybe Geetha, you can also add on your bit, please.
Yeah, sure. Adding on to what Raji said, see, I'm not from the IT sector. And so this work from home arrangement was always thought to be an IT privilege. And we used to always, sometimes I remember many of us in our company would feel that oh, it's such a nice arrangement, how I wish we had it. And some women especially, because this is thought to help in your work-life balance. But it's not very often opted in my company. So when this work, in fact, many of my cousins are actually in IT. And when I would ask them about their experience with about this work from home, they used to say work from home always becomes work for home. So we don't seem to actually be able to do that much work. But when this was announced, this lockdown, we kept hope probably things and and we'll be back to normal. So first 1 week or so after it was announced, since we are not used to it also, we were in a bit of a stupor, we were in a little bit of a denial. And then when we realized that this was going to stay, so then we had to rearrange our house. I mean, we don't have this designated office spaces in our house. So sometimes where you have a proper table or something, you may not have an AC sometimes in the room, or you have both. The Wi-Fi connection is not good. So finding a spot where all the three, can coexist, and these spots are required generally by everybody at home, especially if the spouse is also working and you have children and they are also having online classes, it becomes a bit of a challenge. So, when once this started, initially, as I said, we were grappling with it was life versus livelihood kind of an issue. So we were more focused on ensuring that we have taken all the precaution, we have stocked up all the masks and the gloves and the sanitizers and so on. And then you realize that this was going to be the normal for a while. So we had to adapt, and it has taken a while. And what happens is there is always a need to be to show yourself as being extra productive. So you end up doing a lot more, and there is this fear of losing job, there's fear of losing your promotion or getting this pay cut, or if you don't make the right noises, there is a feeling that they might find you, use this opportunity to ease you out of the job. So these are some of the fears everybody has been grappling with. And given that now home and work is one and the same, they have just blurred, entrenched in each other kind of. So you can't even leave your work stress, whatever work stress or you may go through in the office, it's not possible to leave it back. And then on the way back, your stress levels come down, or you leave it at the doorstep when you enter. That doesn't happen now. So if you have any stress, your spouse stress, you're just living with that stress, and it can have an impact on the kids. So it is like kind of an omnipresent. The stress of this COVID, the stress of losing a job, and the stress of doing the job per se. So this has been a kind of situation which I'm sure everybody is grappling with. And as given in the slide, and as Raji also touched upon it, obviously the major burden is being shouldered by women. There has been this talk about this unpaid work which women do. It's about 5 to 6 hours apparently a day, compared to men doing about 52 minutes of unpaid work. So now we find that this which went unacknowledged, which was understood and it is known, but it has been unacknowledged. Now it is out in the open, and it has got the visibility that probably it really deserved. And I guess we need to keep these conversations going, because somewhere it is hoped that a kind of an equitable distribution of even the domestic work will come about, and so that the stress levels of women also might come down to that extent. So these are just some of my thoughts on this. Others, I think Raji has covered to some extent. So yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. Uma, you want to go to the next slide, or?
Yeah, we'll go to the next slide, Raji.
Okay, so I'll just talk about, so therefore, given the situation that Geetha clearly described, and what I also showed in the first slide, what can she do? What can the working woman do? I again split it across, both of us have shown professional side separately and personal side separately. First and foremost, you see a point there called customer orientation. Now, what I mean by that is, I think being in IT industry, all of you should know who is the customer that you're working for, right? You keep calling it the client interface, or that probably is a phrase that you use. But what I'm saying is, use this lockdown to get closer to your client, right? Now you have the flexibility of maybe reaching out to the client even beyond office hours. You have the flexibility of understanding what may be the customers or client plans going forward. Reorient yourself and increase your, how do I say, domain knowledge of the customer's workspace. See, most of us exist because the customer exists. I think that thing needs to go deep into our minds. We exist because our customer exists. Even the previous point that I made about work anxiety, some potential job losses, etc. It's all a function of whether the client is making money, a client's revenues are stable. So if we are sitting here and our client is in the US, for example, we are not going to lose our jobs if the client in the US is doing well, right? So we only need to regroup and reach out to the customer. And especially in a technology industry, I think this customer orientation needs to go up tremendously, right? And I have known some IT people who have, of course, have a very broad-based knowledge beyond their jobs. But I also know enough IT folks, especially in middle management, maybe junior managers, engineers, etc., who are extremely narrow in their domain knowledge, right? In the sense they just don't know anything beyond what they're doing, and they're probably doing the same thing for 5 years. I met a lady recently. She is into some, I think, auto insurance stuff in IT. And she does not even know the name of the company that she's working on. She's supposed to do some particular work, and that's what she's been doing for 5 years. So I think it's very important to expand beyond our domain, and this is probably the time for it. So customer orientation needs to go up. So the way you can do it is know more about them. What is their space? What are their plans? How can you, add more value to them? Reach out. So everything has to be customer centric, and this is, in fact, one of the reasons. As you go higher up in the ladder, many of you IT folks will realize that one of the complaints that CEOs have why women don't reach leadership positions is the fact that they have very narrow domain, narrow general knowledge. As in, when I say general knowledge, business knowledge, right? They probably are good in their domain, but then for reaching senior leadership positions, you need to be also good in general business knowledge. So reach out to your customers and try and expand this. So on customer orientation, when I put there, that's what I mean. You look at it from a customer perspective. It's extremely important. The second point is about upskill and reskill. There is a lot of, again, enthusiasm, and people are falling all over each other to, sign up Coursera and edX and Udemy and etc. But my suggestion would be that do relevant stuff. There's no point simply populating your resume with some 10 courses if they are not making sense to your client, right? So you can do, I'll split this as upskill and reskill, which are different things really. Upskill is getting deeper in your own domain, right? So if you are in maybe analytics, so get into maybe a cloud, get into more of analytics program, understand how that works, sign up on courses related to that area. I was talking to a very senior person in TCS, and I was asking her this question on what would you expect your team to do during this kind of a break. So she very simply said, I would expect my team to understand from their client what if they upskill on will add more value to their business. As simple as that. So would you know the answer to that question? What if you sign up or learn more on will add value to your business? So upskill only on those areas essentially. Now, reskill is actually a little different, which is learning new things, right? Yeah, while upskill is going deeper into your existing domain, reskill is really learning new things which are beyond your area. So you need to maybe figure out within your organization, talk to HR, what have been your past maybe passion areas that you've always wanted to explore, maybe in the previous performance appraisal, performance development. Can you pick up some of those during this period? And reskilling can also come in handy. Like I gave you that Swedish airline example. You never know. Suppose this client goes out of business. And if you've reskilled yourself, you may find yourself in a situation where you become relevant to some other client, even within the same organization. So look at reskilling from the point of view of learning something, just one or two things new than what you probably already know. And what I put there is the various sites that are available for this. Lynda.com is really LinkedIn. I'm sure all of you know. LinkedIn Learning is what it is. edX.com, Coursera, then Analytics Cloud Digital. That's something Geetha will also talk about later. So I think from a Udemy. Now, from a technical point of view, these are some things which probably you yourself know better than we do. I would like to emphasize upon this agile way of working. See, given that we are facing so many uncertainties during the COVID lockdown, one of the things we should be prepared on is to be thinking on our feet, right? When I say thinking on our feet, we should be very flexible and agile. Coming back to the Swedish example, that airline example, see how quickly they kind of connected the dots. So they figured out that what are the industries which are actually looking up, and they reskilled themselves and made themselves relevant in that industry. So it requires more than simply learning technical skills. It requires you to be thinking on the feet. It requires you to be connecting the dots. Then it requires you to reach out and network. See, unless you reach out and talk to people what is happening, and that's another thing our women are not very good at, I would think, especially at junior levels in IT. I think you must know what's happening around you, right? I think we've been very sheltered, and we've taken job security for granted for many decades now. At least India and IT have taken that for granted for many decades. So this is a time to kind of reset and shake ourselves up on that. So from a soft skill point of view, I've put there you must look at agile and agile way of working, and connecting the dots, thinking on your feet, reaching out, so on and so forth. Expand domain knowledge, I touched upon. I mean, you read up, enroll in some maybe magazine or a journal if in your area, and make it diligently. Maybe give it like 3 hours a week. You will earmark time for reading up. Don't let anybody disturb you. See, at the end of the day, your travel time is reduced, right? Earlier, maybe you were traveling 2 hours per day on work. You've gained that 2 hours. So can you, I'm sure we are all capable of filling it up with more work, but let's do a more meaningful way of filling it up by getting more deeper in our own chosen area, and reading something more progressive, reading what is happening in other parts of the world. So reading up, signing up for webinars, etc. And the last point we've put there is hobbies. Now, hobbies is, I think you spoke about it initially. We need stress busters, right? So definitely we need to do stuff which will make us feel alive, is more fun, which will help us refresh and rejuvenate and come back to work with greater efficiency. So I think these are some things that you can do at a professional level. So my key advice to you would be customer centric, figure out what they want, and do all your upskilling and reskilling around those areas. Over to you, Geetha.
Yeah, see, especially for manufacturing companies, as I said, we would never have thought that we can work for this extended period. Now it's been 2 months plus. So even in our wildest dreams, I don't think we thought that we could continue working like this, work from home. Of course, once, hopefully soon, when things come back to normal, still some people will be continuing to work from home. This is what I foresee. There'll be a kind of a hybrid model, which I think most companies will adopt. I'm talking of maybe mostly the non-IT companies, where some of the people who definitely need to come, they'll have to go to office, and others will continue to work from home, because as I said, these 2 months has proved that we can actually do plenty of our work can be done offline. Though personally, I feel going to office and having that personal connect, interacting with colleagues, those arguments, those gossip or whatever, that is so essential in an office atmosphere. So I'm actually just looking forward to when the office is going to reopen and when I can start going. That said, we have also seen this work from home has also given rise to many of the things that were being done manually are now going to be automated to a large extent. So many of the laborious work, the manual work, is going to be taken over by technology. So there's no point, we all know this, and it is there. We can see the writing on the wall. So it's all up to us as to what we are going to do about it and how we can either reskill or upskill, as we have put there. Because going forward, how are we going to grow our creative potential? How are we going to develop our critical thinking? How are you going to add value in whatever you do? So these are some things that organizations will definitely be looking at. And most organizations, given the situation, definitely many are having these cash flow issues. So always the threat of losing a job or proving yourself. You have to prove yourself to be useful and adding value. We have also seen large-scale redundancies in the IT, auto, textiles, telecom. real estate and obviously hospitality industry taking a big beating. As far as finance is concerned, I will say that we just love to touch and feel of documents. We just love it by nature. Now, of course, we use a lot of Excel, we use a lot of SAP, and many companies now are going ahead and the documentation for any goods received, anything, you will get the invoices and then you'll upload it in SAP, and many things were being done by the people in the office. Now the vendors are themselves being asked to upload the invoices, and you have a software, which reads, which just connects with the SAP, and the things are getting automated to such a vast extent that the finance professionals, they really need to upgrade and upskill themselves. They need to go to the next level of financial analysis, and by analysis I don't mean just the ratio analysis. We have to get into these analytics. We have to be able to understand, interpret, forecast, and predict, and give these valuable inputs to the top management for decision making. So this is something that is definitely going to change. And interestingly, HUL's merger with GlaxoSmithKline took place in the lockdown phase, and it took place entirely online. So which I'm sure, which just shows that if one decides, one can do it online. Yes, you can do it online. So something like this, like a merger taking place entirely online, it was something unthinkable, but that also has been done. So, and as far as the audit is concerned, there is something called a concept of touchless audit is emerging, where you have a minimum interaction. Now, I being in audit it is very essential. You look at the body language of the person. When you talk face to face, there's a lot of interactions. You learn a lot. You pick up a lot of these non-verbal cues and all, which is absent now. So this is a challenge, but that's how it's going to be. So we have to look at different ways. Again, data analytics is going to play a big role. So we have to really upskill on the analytics part. So doing courses which are very relevant in your domain, or if you feel that this is the time for you to switch, it's up to you now to go to the management and present your case. And probably if they are convinced, you can go ahead and have probably a change in your role also. Probably this is the right time. So that is one. The other thing is we all need to digitally transform ourselves. Now there is no more excuse. Women have been little hesitant, even users little hesitant. They feel that this is something mumbo jumbo, and they get put off by the jargon. So we have to not only move to being a user, we have to also move from being a user to an owner of digital languages. So we really need to transform ourselves, and probably COVID-19 could really be a tipping point for learning. So for all those who used to, for all those who wanted to, do sign up for courses, and we all know we all have to get into machine learning. We all have to get into artificial intelligence, and these are not just jargons. We just cannot avoid them. So we just have to find a way to do. And this is the time probably. We just have to find the time, and we just have to focus. And the other thing is flexibility, as I said, is going to be the norm. We are going to have more and more work from home. Coding is going to be probably the new English language. And going forward, I feel there will be more flat and hierarchy-less organizations. The power symbols will be less visible. We won't be able, by the size of the cabin of your cabin, you can't, it won't be there now anymore. So those power symbols will come down. I'm also curious as to how HR is going to, when your rating and appraisal comes. Because as I said, the visibility, interaction with people, the leadership skills and how they interact, so many things are needed to be observed in addition to just performance. So now when working from home, it's more of a task. We have just completed the task. But how HR, whether the metric shift, whether new metrics will come to evaluate, it will no longer be just about managing your teams. It will be about how you're driving businesses and how you're adding value. Travel, of course, is will definitely come down drastically. And with the social distancing, even if office reopens, maybe shift timings are going to come, I guess, and we'll have to live with it till such time we come up with vaccines or such solutions. And I'm also, if we would have read in the news that a lot of the countries which were ruled by the female leaders, they have performed much better in keeping COVID at bay or in containing and controlling it. So this has also brought to light the concept of compassionate leadership, which was generally thought to be not required because we still have a very male-dominated views and traits for leadership. Now, thankfully, this has brought that into forth, that in addition to strategy, even compassionate leadership, even your emotional and social skills, these also going to get relevant, if not completely, but definitely this is going to be highlighted, and this is going to be looked upon as a good leadership trait. And as far as the courses is concerned, there are plenty of courses. Of course, there is plethora, and many times we just get anxious by some courses somebody is doing. It's not relevant that what others are doing we need to do. Depending on your domain, you can look at the relevant courses. The sites are there. We need to talk to our mentors, our seniors, and we don't reach out. So that is a very sad part. We want to be splendid at everything we do every day. So I think we really need to be light on, take ourselves a little lightly, and when help is required, I think we should go and we should ask for help. We can interact with our male colleagues and we can ask them to suggest also what courses they can do. And I think as women, we also need to help each other. If there is something that we come across, I think we should also share with others. That sharing mentality also has to come. So in short, this is a new normal which we're going to face. So we have to really work on ourselves, and we have to where we are going to go from here. This is probably the time to also plan your journey as to what you need to do in the next 5 years or in the next 1 year or whatever. And for that, what are the courses that you need to upgrade yourself? So this you need to do a lot of introspection. Then this is the best time to do introspection, and then we have to take it from there. So this is my short point on this.
Thank you, Geetha. Just one, yeah. So just a small point I want to add to what Geetha said so beautifully on the changing scenario. See, I think that all of you are working women, and I'm sure your spouses are working too. So there's a concept called power couples, right, where both spouses are working. And you'll find that, and there has been a lot of academic research that has happened on this concept called power couples across. And unlike what we think from the outside, we think that power couples are able to manage everything because they work out the practicalities and they just, do the efficiency bit and sort it out, etc. That is just one part of the story. I think the bigger success factor for power couples like all of you, and all of you are power couples because you're working and your husband must be working too, is how are you able to take time out and discuss the more important things with each other, right? When I say that more important things, what is it that you want out of your life? How do you see yourself maybe, 5 years later? What are your deep fears, right? So research has time and again shown that couples, especially power couples who have very frank and deep discussions with one another on these three areas, really. What is it that you want out of your life? How do you really see yourself basically 5 years down the line, and what is the roadmap? And what are your deep fears? These kinds of meaningful conversations go a long way in building the relationship. Maybe this is again the time to do that, recalibrate even the relationship between husband and wife. Because with a heightened sensitivity of higher workload that a woman does on an average, I think the man is more aware of that now. He's seeing it every day. With the heightened sensitivity and with the heightened technology usage of women are very well poised to take on men equally at workplace today. See, we had some barriers or disadvantages, such as travel time or informal late working hours, client entertainment meetings, socializing. Now, all these have been done away with in the last 3 months, 2.5, 3 months. I mean, work goes on, right? Without all these, we don't necessarily have to do those late night office socializing or client entertainment or travel. Work just goes on. So this COVID has presented a equal setting for men and women in many ways. Now it is up to really capitalize it and move forward. That's what I would say. So that is on the professional side. Can we go to the next slide?
Sure, Raji. Thank you.
Okay, so just a brief, view on what can we do personally, and this is really important because, like Geetha said, we want to be perfectionists, right? We like to excel in what we do, and that comes at some cost, which is more often than not our health. So the first point I've put there is set boundaries, which is first of all physical space. I think all of you should just negotiate and get a space for yourself from where you'll do your work at home. However small it may be, I think it should be your physical space where you keep your laptop, your headphone, where the Wi-Fi connection is good, AC is there if required, all those things. But that should be construed as your space. Like I showed in the first slide, it cannot be something that which is kept on a kitchen mayday or kitchen, dashboard, and you keep working on. Because if you look at that lady, the way she's even standing and doing that work, I really don't think her back is going to be healthy for a long time. So physical space is very, very important, earmarked just for yourself. Next is time. Needless to say, time, when I say, it's quite critical not to overwork. I think we all have a tendency to overwork. Don't overwork. I think it's important to just say weekends you're not working and you're not working. And even time bans, whether you want to give to your kids, to your husband, or just watch some TV or just WhatsApp with your friends. You must have time earmarked for everything, very critical. Don't take this lightly, because one of the things that we are used to doing as women is just filling up ourselves with mundane household work, which is not really mundane actually, but that adds to the strain. So just say that this is my working time and make it clear to your employer. I'm sure your employer will understand. Role clarity. I think role clarity very critical between husband and wife. She cannot do all the work plus the office work. So definitely don't shy away from giving a couple of tasks to your husband. I remember my brother was, when he was visiting me from the US, he was some in very senior position from executive director, but that doesn't matter. His role at home was to actually do the jadu, right? So he was responsible for doing the jadu at home. Well, I was doing the cooking and the, maybe the other stuff. So that does, I think it's important that you share your load and have role clarity between both of you. And the next point is about the me time. Me time, I mentioned this earlier, not overworking. Quite critical for your employees to feel that you're, refreshed when you come into that laptop early morning at 9:30 and do a login. They should not see a sleepless and a very, how do I say, dragged down and a very tired looking face. So you should refresh yourself. Get exercise and infrastructure, so critical. How many of you have a proper chair with a back? I mean, it's so important. We are spending some, 15 hours a day sitting on the chair. I recently went and ordered one ergonomical chair for myself, because I realized the situation is not going to change much. I'm going to have online classes on Zoom. My classes are beginning. My lectures are starting. So I cannot sit in a stool and, keep talking. And it's very important to therefore have the right infrastructure. So get a chair, good chair for yourself with a lower back rest, neck rest, etc. Get enough exercise. Can't emphasize more on this. You must get your 30-minute per day workout. Walk within the apartment, stretch yourself. And this is again, apart from the me time. Exercise is not me time. Me time is separate. Me time is more a mental free time. And exercise is a physical requirement of the body. So get that 30 minutes, quite, critical. And of course, the last point, positive and inspiring people, very important. So Geetha will elaborate a little more on that. So personal, take responsibility for your health. Take responsibility for your time and the physical space. That's what I would say. I'm sure COVID will end at some point of time, but when it ends, we should be able to look back at it with a lot of rich, positive learnings. We should have come out stronger and better through all this, and healthier through all this. Most important, right? Over to you, Geetha.
Thanks, Raji. Yeah, talking about the setting boundaries, as I said, I've already, I think somewhere we just mentioned that because still the role of men has always been that of breadwinners, and for women it's been as caregivers, and this to a large extent. And as a psychologist, in fact, I pointed out that Indian men have been conditioned not to offer help, while most women feel unable to ask. So I think if we enjoy doing all of this, perfectly fine. But if we feel we are getting stressed, we are feeling burdened, it's causing us anxiety, then we really need to relook at distributing some work, and especially with not having access to maid. In fact, the most important person in our lives. That is, of course, it's taken a big beating on the again the health of women. So we just have to ask. We have to ask for help, and we have to tell. Let's not try to become the superwoman, because if it's going to affect our health, it's not going to help anybody. So we have to ask for help, and we need to take a hard stop at some pre-designated time. People, in fact, and I've talked to some people, and especially in IT and all, they said that sometimes they get calls at 12:45, they get a message for a 1 o'clock Zoom meeting or something. And they're saying we don't even have the excuse of saying we are not at home, or we are traveling or something, because you're at home and everybody knows that. So that these endless Zoom calls has also been causing a lot of anxiety, and especially for working women, it is a double whammy. So when it is difficult, we have to learn to delegate chores, and we should not take it as a personal stigma, or we'll be looked upon as unable to manage. That is something which also causes a lot of stress. So I think we really need to be a little easy on ourselves. And me time, yes, it can't be overemphasized. We have to have designated times. We have to take that walk, some workout. We have hobbies. I'm sure all of us have hobbies. Music, meditation. Everybody is talking about meditation. With so much of negativity around us, I think it's so important that we really use this time to dabble in our hobbies, and not those hobbies which again add to our stress. Now we have seen there is this productivity propaganda, as I call it, which has been going around on social media, and everybody is everybody has become like a master chef, and we are putting all our, those baking or cooking dishes with sometimes with unpronounceable names, and that is also sometimes adding stress, and we feel we have to keep up with the Joneses. But let's do what is within our reach and what we like to do, and without giving stress. There's no point in adding on to the stress when we are already in stress because of our professional and our personal work. The other thing we really need to watch out for, because of all these anxiety, this sleeplessness, there have been a lot of talk in the paper about many working professionals, women especially, complaining about anxiety pangs, about insomnia. And so there is a danger of burnout. And in fact, WHO has included burnout in its international classification of disease. They say it's a syndrome which results from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. They say that this burnout is characterized by feelings of energy depletion and by exhaustion, increased mental distance from one's job, and feelings of negativism or cynicism relating to one's job, and reduced professional efficacy. So this is something I think women really need to watch out for, because there is always this fear of being laid off, exhaustion of these endless Zoom meetings, pressure of juggling work, parenting, all which we have spoken about. So that is increasing the burden of stress. So that is something I think we really need to work on, and interacting with positive and inspiring people. That just cannot be overemphasized. In fact, for the last, I think, almost 2 months, I have not watched the news at all, because I felt it was just adding on to my stress. Pandemic is the news, or pandemic is the news, or news has become a pandemic. I don't understand. But so that is really causing stress. You open the newspapers and there is this headlines about COVID. So I am not even tracking as to what is happening. I just some headlines I come to know, or I just read the headlines and that's it. So it's very important to retain your positivity in all this gloom all around. So talk to people, and don't talk to all the energy. There are some energy vampires who will be there. Please avoid such people. Please talk to people who are positive and who are inspiring, because that is the only way we can come out of this. And when we look back, nature has given us this time probably to recalibrate, reflect, and so on. So when we look back, we should also feel proud that, okay, in spite of all this that we went through, there have been some learnings and we have come out well. So that's what I wanted to tell.
Thank you.
Just
so
one
much,
point.
Geetha.
Just one point I want to emphasize on the sitting posture and ergonomics. I think many Indian women tend to underemphasize this, but and we end up having back problems and knee problems and all much later in life. Many women are prone to osteoporosis. We all know that calcium depletion. So I think you must get a good chair with a good back, lower back, and a neck, and ensure that it's available for you during your work. So ensure that you take your posture very seriously during all these long calls. Yeah.
And the other thing is this multitasking. It has been put. This crown has been put on our. It's become like a crown of thorns at times. So we need not be good at everything. So let's take ourselves lightly, because at the end of the day, taking care of our health and well-being is most important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geetha and Raji. I'm now giving this back to presenter right to Vidya, so that we can also introduce our team and also take a couple of questions if people are not in a hurry. We did have at one peak around 140 participants, and back to Vidya.
Thank you, Uma. I think we can also rightly post the poll questions right now. We had one or two questions that we can release on the poll. Thank you to our phenomenal speakers, Dr. Rajeswari and Dr. Geetha. Indeed, I think most of the women, especially over chat, I realized that all of us are living in exactly the same kind of home turned offices. All of us are experiencing the same kind of situation. It does not matter whether you're working for a bank, whether you're working in the IT, whether you're working for a college, you are a teacher, you're a lecturer, it does not matter. All of us are in the same boat. This boat is not something that will sink, I'm sure, because all women are in sync, SYNC. And all of us know that we are here to take care of ourselves, of our families, and everybody else in the society. Very rightly said, do not work towards just being the superwoman. Women are super by nature. And it does not mean that you have to always prove yourselves. If you know that you are super, then you will take care of yourselves first. You will take care of your needs, your priorities, what you like. Because only when you are a happy individual will you be a successful individual. With that, the polling question is up. And I request the participants to go ahead and post your poll, share your feedback, let us know what you felt. And EWIT team, thank you so much for being here with us. And on display is what you see is the Mahi core team that I was talking about earlier on today. So we had two great women who shared their experience, their knowledge, and brought onto the plate something that helped us all feel இது இவங்க வீட்லயும் நடக்குதா எனக்கு மட்டும் தான் நடக்குதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So for all the women, I think it is about time for us to realize நம்ம மட்டும் தான் கஷ்டப்படுறோமா, இல்ல இது எனக்கு மட்டும் தான் நடக்குதா அப்படின்னு யாருமே யோசிக்க வேண்டாம். All of us are equal and all of us are facing the same kind of issues. It is just that each of us will have our own formula of handling that. Not every formula will work for everyone. This is like a typical laboratory where trial and error works. What probably worked in April when lockdown started off may not work in May, or will reduce its value when you go into June and July. It does not matter. Keep trying to experiment, keep trying to find yourself. And I think very rightly, as the guest speakers told us, it is time for us to also sit back and think a little more when we are not rushing in and out of our cars and parking lots. Also, very important, one point that I'd like to mention is take care of yourselves, which includes your looks. That also contributes a lot to our own feel good feel. I'm not sure how many of us have even opened our wardrobes in the last couple of months. Even if we have we actually taken the effort to go through that wardrobe and pick up and wear something nice? If you haven't done it, do try it along with your children, your spouse, your other members of the family. It will definitely be a fun experience. With that, I'll stop sharing the screen.
Vidya, I would request all the participants to look into the panel right side where I have opened the poll questions. The first poll question is, was this program engaging? The second question is, rate this program. And the third is, give your feedback in few lines. So I would request all of you to kindly go ahead and answer for us. The poll is open for 5 more minutes. And especially thanks to Banu, Bhuvna, Lata, and of course our panelists Geetha and Raji for an amazing session today.
Thank you.
We also had a participation, and thank you so much. And looking forward for more interaction. There are a few questions that has come up asking for your contact details, and they would like to reach out to you. We will formally send them to you too.
Yeah, sure.
Any closing remarks from Banu?
First of all, thank you, Uma. I think it's a fantastic session. I want to thank both Dr. Geetha and Dr. Rajeswari. I personally loved their very simple yet very relevant, especially the chair example you gave. I had the same problem. Just in the 15 days, I realized I was having terrible back pain. I didn't realize what was going wrong. Then I realized that my seating posture and my chair was such a big issue. So these are the small things, but very important ones to be keeping in mind. So thank you, Dr. Rajeswari and Dr. Geetha, for a very interesting session today. Appreciate it. I'm sure the entire audience enjoyed the session today, and we look forward to doing more such sessions. Thank you, IBM, and thanks all the participants for a very good session today. You've been a
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Bye.
Go one video, Vidya. Do you want a video pic of all the participants? I think the
I'm not sure if the participants, yeah, we can ask all of the panelists to be on video, and I'm not sure if the participants will be able to. We can try that as well.
We have actually disabled that.
Okay, doesn't matter for improved bandwidth. I know. We can ask all of the panelists to please get onto video.
Yeah,
I think 7 of us.
I will capture the picture.
Hi, Lata.
I don't know, my video seems disabled though.
Geet, Devika.
Devika, are you also not able to get onto the video? And Dr. Geetha as well.
Can you help me, Vidya, with enabling my video? Is it disabled by your end or?
Actually, for all the participants, we generally, because of the bandwidth reasons, have kept that like that. So if you would have got into the panelist thing, I think that
Yeah.
I'll try anyway.
Okay.
I'm not able to, Bona. You have. Banu, I'm not able to.
That's perfectly fine. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And
thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Mahi team for hosting this amazing session and Evit for partnering with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Evit. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.